3 days after the funeral, Carol Bennett sat in the dark, watching the only proof of her father's true wishes.
Everything I have goes to Carol. David already got his share years ago. My son's debts are his inheritance. Don't let him change that.
Dad, I promise. I'll make this right.
The thumbprint on the paperwork was smeared, applied while he was barely breathing.
This is the real will. My brother won't get away with it.
At probate, David had smirked when the revised will was read, leaving Carol a cracked clock.
He thought I'd just accept it. He doesn't know what I have.
The hospice nurse had kept a secret, a video recorded weeks earlier. While the old man was still lucid, Carol gripped the phone. She had the evidence, but the fight was only beginning. 6 months earlier, James Bennett heard words that silenced the room. Stage 4, no treatment left.
I am taking family leave, Dad. No arguments. I'll be here every day.
The hospice assigned a night nurse, Brenda Holloway, who entered the Bennett home like a calm tide.
At least the morphine gives him soft hours. But what about the hard ones?
He talks in his sleep, Carol. Only your name. That man trusts nobody else.
Don't bother, David. I'll tell him you are too busy for a dying father.
The excuses always arrived on time. Work, travel, a schedule. Only David controlled. James Bennett's grip had weakened, but his hope still clung to one name. The house that once held piano lessons and Sunday dinners now held only waiting. In the small hours, Carol sat by the bed, and the silence held secrets not yet spoken. One evening, the morphine loosened its grip, and James Bennett opened his eyes with a clarity Carol hadn't seen in weeks.
That boy thinks I leave him the business, but I can't. He's sunk enough already. Nurse Brenda, get your phone. I want to say my piece while my head's still right.
Brenda hesitated, only a moment, then called 2 aides to stand as witness. She steadied her phone, the red recording dot blinking in the quiet room.
I am leaving everything to Carol. The house, the company, the land. She earned it. David got his inheritance early. Every loan I gave him, every debt I cleared.
When the recording stopped, the room felt heavier, as if the old man had just signed a final decree. Brenda saved the file under a date code, her instincts whispering this would matter. The video sat on her phone, unseen by anyone else, a truth waiting for its hour. 3 days before his death, a black sedan idled in the hospice lot at 2 a.m.
The night nurse won't question a grieving son.
Inside the room, only the oxygen concentrator hummed. James Bennett was deep under morphine.
A press of the thumb, a quick signature, and it's done.
That's the 3rd time this week he's visited at midnight. He never stays long.
By morning, a revised will lay on the lawyer's desk, a single thumbprint, the only mark of agreement. The print was smeared, the ink pooled oddly, as if the hand had been limp.
He was unresponsive the entire day. I charted it at 10 p.m. That document can't be real. James couldn't hold a spoon, let alone a pen.
The wall clock froze at 3 a.m., the hour that would haunt every legal argument to come. 2 days later, James Bennett slipped away in the golden hour. Carol's hand pressed to his.
He's gone. I have to hold it together.
David wore grief like a rented suit. By the reception, he was on his phone, whispering about selling the business.
He can't even wait until the earth settles.
At probate, the lawyer unfolded a document that smelled of fresh ink and betrayal. To my daughter, Carol, I leave the antique mantel clock. All else to my son, David, who will carry forward my legacy.
A clock? He left me a clock?
David didn't bother hiding his satisfaction. The room felt smaller under his smile. The notary accepted the smeared print. No one asked whose hand had been guided.
Dad would never do this. But how do I prove what I can't even explain?
3 days after the reading, Carol called Patricia Mercer, a lawyer who'd unstitched forgery cases before.
This thumbprint isn't convincing. The ink smear suggests the hand wasn't conscious when it was pressed. The date also worries me. Your father was on a heavy morphine drip. The nurses would have charted his responsiveness.
Brenda. She cared for him like family. She'd know if he was even awake that day.
Patricia circled dates on her desk calendar, linking the will to the medication chart with a red pen.
If anyone documented his incapacity, we can void the will. Is there a nurse you trust to talk?
Brenda Holloway. She practically lived in that room with Dad. I'll find her.
Outside the office, Carol held the case file tight. David mustn't know she was digging.
He already stole everything. What else could he do if he finds out?
She dialed Brenda's number that evening, her pulse ringing louder than the phone. Brenda agreed to meet at a diner far from the hospice, where no one would whisper her name to David.
Brenda, on this date, 3 days before Dad died, was he capable of signing anything?
I wrote it down that night. Patient unresponsive to verbal stimuli. Morphine drip 12 mg each hour. His Glasgow coma scale was 3. He couldn't blink on command, let alone press his thumb anywhere.
This note alone could crack the whole thing open.
Carol, there's more. 6 weeks before that night, your father asked me to record a video.
A video of what?
Of him saying that everything goes to you, that David's debts were his only inheritance. But if David finds out I kept that file, he could come after my job, my license. I am scared.
Brenda's hands stayed folded in her lap, but she promised to send the chart notes to Patricia that night. The video, she said, would wait. 2 nights later, Brenda texted Carol an address and a simple message. "Come over. I need to show you something." Brenda unlocked her laptop and angled the screen toward Carol, the video file cued and ready. They sat together as Brenda pressed play, and the dim room filled with James Bennett's steady, lucid voice.
Everything I have goes to Carol. The house, the business, the land. David already got his share. Every debt I covered. She earned this. My son's inheritance is the money he already took. That's all he gets from me.
That's the voice I remember. Strong. Not the morphine whisper I last heard.
I had 2 aides witness it. Their signed statements are here. Carol, this is the truth.
Send it to Patricia now. Please, Brenda. We can't wait another day.
Within an hour, Patricia Mercer opened the file in her office and immediately called Carol back.
This is a game changer. With the chart and video, we have grounds to contest the will. But David can't know yet. Stay quiet. I've secured sworn affidavits from both aides. They confirm the video's date and your father's complete lucidity.
They're willing to testify in court. David will try to intimidate them.
They've both signed. David's lawyer will try to discredit them, but their statements match the chart perfectly.
On her desk, Patricia circled the video date in red ink, then drew a jagged line to the will's date, 6 weeks apart.
Dad built that company. I won't let David sell it off like a junked car.
Understand this. Once we file, David will strike back. He might slander you, even threaten Brenda.
I've already lost my father. I won't lose his last wish. Do whatever it takes.
That evening, Carol called Brenda to warn her of the storm ahead. The nurse's answer came without pause.
I am not hiding anymore. Your father trusted me, and I'll say so under oath.
By midnight, the petition sat on Patricia's cloud drive, dated, signed, and aimed directly at David Bennett. The process server caught David at his office, sliding the envelope past his gold cufflink.
She can't do this. I'll bury her before she sees a dime.
Within hours, he was standing in Carol's doorway, his voice shaking the window glass.
You ungrateful. Dad wanted me to have it all. You manipulated him.
You pressed his thumb while he slept. Brenda saw it all.
David's face twisted, but he didn't deny it. He stepped closer, voice dropping.
He'll go after Brenda next. I have to warn her again.
Nurse Holloway, I know what you did. Withdraw your statement, or I'll make sure you never work again.
You do what you have to, Mr. Bennett. I already told the truth.
The line went dead, but the war wasn't over. It had only found its first casualties. The calls began by morning, relatives parroting David's version. Carol had fabricated a story to steal his share. "You are tearing this family apart over a clock," one aunt warned.
Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm turning Dad's dying into a petty war.
This isn't about a clock. It's about a thumbprint on a sedated man. Don't let them gaslight you.
On her desk, the two dates still stared back. 6 weeks of clarity between the video and the forgery.
I won't let them rewrite Dad's last words. File the motion, Patricia.
Later that week, a process server found Brenda at the end of her shift, a subpoena with the court seal.
I've been afraid of this moment, but I am ready.
No more silence. No more doubt. I am holding this line.
The hearing date landed on the docket with a thud. 2 weeks, no continuances, no hiding. The 2 weeks became a countdown. Patricia entertained settlement calls, but the offers always came with a threat.
They're offering 30% of the estate if you drop the challenge. It's not a negotiation, it's a bribe.
I didn't sit by his bed for 6 months to sell the truth for 30 cents on the dollar. No deal.
Within hours, David texted Carol directly. His rage condensing into digital poison. You've seen how I handle betrayal. Drop this or regret it.
The same threat he used on Brenda. He's not bargaining. He's cornered. The truth doesn't negotiate. I'll see you in court, David.
The night before the hearing, Carol sat in the dark, phone in hand, and pressed play one last time.
Everything I have goes to Carol. David already got his share years ago.
Tomorrow, they'll hear it too. Rest easy, Dad.
The hearing room smelled of old wood and fresh tension. David sat behind his lawyer, Carol across the aisle, their eyes never meeting.
Your Honor, the thumbprint will is a fiction. The nursing chart shows Mr. Bennett was unresponsive on that date.
She projected the chart onto the screen. Patient unresponsive to verbal stimuli penciled in Brenda Holloway's steady hand.
But 6 weeks earlier, he was lucid. The video you are about to see was recorded with 2 witnesses.
I am leaving everything to Carol. David already got his share, every debt I covered.
David's lawyer shot up, objecting this video could be coerced. The date fabricated. The judge leaned forward, her glasses catching the light. I see a time date stamp and 2 affidavits, overruled.
It's real. Dad's voice in this room. He's still protecting me.
Patricia passed the chart and the video exhibit to the bench, the 2 pieces now locked in the record. David's knuckles whitened around the armrest. The room held its breath for what would come next. Patricia called Brenda Holloway to the stand, and the room leaned forward as the nurse swore to tell the truth.
On the date of that will, I charted Mr. Bennett's Glasgow coma scale at 3 out of 15. He could not respond to pain, let alone press his thumb anywhere. 6 weeks earlier, he was so lucid, he asked me to record his wishes. 2 aides witnessed it, and I saved the file that same night.
David's attorney rose, voice sharp. Nurse Holloway, couldn't you simply be misremembering the exact time?
I am a hospice nurse of 18 years. The time is stamped in my chart and my memory. There's no mistake.
She's not just a witness. She's the voice he couldn't have that day.
In the gallery, the 2 aides nodded along, their presence a silent confirmation. Patricia redirected once, then sat. The cross-examiner retreated with nothing. The room absorbed her words like a verdict already half-formed. Only the judge's ruling remained suspended, a gavel weight above an uncertain silence. One after another, the 2 aides took the stand. Their accounts were identical. The signature was forged, the video date authentic. Their affidavits matched Brenda's nursing chart down to the hour, leaving no room for accident or human error. Patricia straightened her jacket as the last aide stepped down. The court calls David Bennett.
Mr. Bennett, you claim your father signed this will 3 days before his death. Were you present that night?
I was there earlier. He was fine then.
Fine. The nursing chart shows he was unresponsive all day, and you visited at 2 a.m. Why so late?
I just wanted to say goodbye, that's all.
And the debts your father mentioned repeatedly? The loans he called your early inheritance?
David's hands shook. He's drowning in his own lies.
The judge scribbled a final note, her face unreadable. The gavel waited. Patricia rose for closing arguments. her voice steady as she gestured toward the frozen frame on the screen.
This video is a dying man's last clear command. The thumbprint will is a fiction built on morphine and midnight visits. Justice doesn't hinge on a thumbprint pressed into a limp hand. It answers to the truth that waited in a nurse's phone.
David's lawyer argued technicalities, but his voice thinned against the recorded words of James Bennett. The judge tapped her gavel once and announced a brief recess. The room exhaled, but the verdict still hung frozen. In the empty courtroom, the silence was heavier than any testimony. Carol stared at her father's paused face on the screen.
Whatever the judge decides, I've given him a voice. That's all I could do.
Across the aisle, David's eyes drilled into her, but she refused to flinch. The air between them was a held breath.
He's still hoping I'll break. He doesn't know I'm already past breaking.
The bailiff's footsteps echoed as the judge's door opened. The waiting ended. The gavel would speak next. The judge resumed the bench, her expression unreadable. The room drew a collective breath. The revised will dated 3 days before death is void. The thumbprint was applied when the testator could not consent. The video recorded 6 weeks prior, though informal, provides clear evidence of the decedent's authentic wishes. Carol Bennett is recognized as sole heir to the estate of James Bennett. This court refers David Bennett to the district attorney for investigation into forgery and undue influence.
Dad, it's really over. He kept his word.
David shot up, mouth open, but his lawyer yanked him back down. No argument left. The gavel came down once, sharp as a period. The hearing was over. Carol turned, finding Brenda's proud, tear-streaked face in the gallery. Neither needed words. The clerk stamped the referral order. Justice had a paper trail. Carol crossed the aisle and pulled Brenda into a tight embrace, the kind that said everything words couldn't.
You didn't just save me, Brenda. You gave him his voice back.
He trusted me to do right. I just kept a promise.
David shoved past them without a word, his lawyer trailing behind with a folder of useless arguments. Outside, 2 officers stopped him on the pavement, their questions polite but pointed.
He's still my brother. That wound won't heal, but I didn't make it.
You are allowed to mourn the brother you thought you had, Carol. That's not weakness.
The business transfer will be finalized by next week. It's time to think about the future.
The future. It finally feels like mine.
She walked away from the courthouse carrying her father's gift, not just property, but the proof that his words had outlasted his silence. 3 weeks after the ruling, Carol unlocked the Bennett and Company front door with the key her father had given her 20 years ago. The office smelled of timber and old filing cabinets. Dust had settled, but so had memory.
Dad, this chair still holds your shape. I won't let it fall. I promise.
Through the grimy window, the workshop floor was dark, but the machines waited. Before leaving, she drove to the cemetery, a small bunch of white lilies on the passenger seat. She knelt at the new headstone, tracing the letters of his name.
I used the truth you made sure I'd have. Thank you for planning ahead.
The grass was damp, the air quiet. She left the flowers and stood, shoulders straighter. The business would open again. She would be the one unlocking it every morning. That afternoon, she drove to Brenda's apartment with an envelope that held more than just gratitude. She placed the envelope in Brenda's hands, the paper warm from the late afternoon sun.
This is a bonus from the estate. More than you'll ever know, but still not enough.
I did what any nurse would do. You don't owe me anything, Carol.
But Carol insisted, her voice breaking the words she'd rehearsed for days.
You faced threats, risked your license. That isn't just your job. That's courage.
He was a good man. He deserved to be heard. I am just glad you listened.
Brenda pulled her into a hug that smelled of lavender and antiseptic, the same scent from those long nights.
This is the family I chose, the one he helped build.
When she left, the envelope sat on Brenda's table, but the promise between them didn't need paper. By December, the office windows glowed with Christmas lights, and the old clock ticked steadily again. Carol sat at her father's desk, a stack of holiday cards beside an open ledger.
This one's for you, Brenda.
She wrote, "To the Holloway family," in careful script, pausing to remember the night they first trusted each other.
Some gifts can't fit in an envelope.
On the desk, the photo of James Bennett watched over the room like a quiet guardian. The business was turning a quiet profit, the workers returning, but this ritual mattered more than any ledger.
He planned this. He knew she'd be my witness.
She sealed the card, pressed a stamp, and set it in the outbox. A tradition now, she decided. Outside, the first snow of the season began to fall, blanketing the old building in white. Carol stood by the window, watching the snow settle on the world she'd fought to keep. Without looking, she reached for her phone, the screen still showing the video she'd watched a dozen times. She didn't press play. She didn't need to. His voice had already settled where it mattered, inside every choice she'd made since.
Thank you for believing I'd rise to it, Dad.
Justice hadn't come from revenge. It came from a nurse's integrity and a father's quiet planning.
And Brenda, my witness, my friend.
The snow erased the old footprints, but the key was still in her hand. She pressed the video file into a locked folder, not to hide it now, but to keep it safe forever. And the Bennett and Company sign glowed through the snowfall, a promise kept.